we're going to take a look at our old friend, our happily much loved and much not maligned, and me not angry at excess billing, CBS All Access, which I just got an alert yesterday that I no longer have it. And now I'm going to have to re-up it soon because we got the announcement today at the time of this recording that Star Trek is coming back. But I'm not talking about Discovery, not talking about Picard and the goddamn travesty that everyone finally, I think, agrees with us on.
It took, 10 episodes for everybody to line up.
It took towards the end of the season where CBS couldn't take away their privilege anymore and their free access to their free all access accounts.
It took space flowers and 200 ships that look exactly the same.
That is still one of the most laughable things I've ever seen. 200 of the same ships, state-of-the-art ship. This is the newest ship in the fleet, and we have 200 of them.
But they couldn't knock together enough transports.
200 of them, but they couldn't get enough transports. And every time we see a brand new hero ship, there's one, and then there's one other one usually mentioned. That's it. It took, it took into Deep Space Nine for us to get Galaxy classes as common.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, they were special ships. Right? We got the Excelsior class everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing.
From the 80s.
Classes, the Excelsior classes, apparently, like, mostly it's sort of the whole Admiral thing where you get to pick your ship that takes you everywhere.
It's just they picked, and it's a beastie ship that's been upgraded. But even then, it was 30 years old, and that wasn't even a hero ship at that time.
It was even older than that by that point.
God,
so it was like 80 years old.
We didn't get a Galaxy class as commonplace until DS9 when it went to save the Defiant and got blowed up. Yeah. Which is the exact reason they used the Galaxy class. They were going to use another ship, but they wanted to show how big the Dominion was, that they could just fuck up an Enterprise, essentially. Something. Right. The Sovereign class only appeared in the films, and there's only one of them until its sister ship was announced, like in books and stuff. But we've only ever seen one. We know they're in service. Deep Space Nine happened through there. Voyager happened through there, but there's no other, I believe, Sovereign class other than the Sovereign and the Enterprise. And that was 10 years. But no, we got to Discovery or the Picard timeline. We got 200 fucking copy-paste ships showing up out of fucking nowhere. Out of nowhere.
We're going on a tangent. In the fleet. You know that, right?
Of course, we cannot go on a tangent with this goddamn thing. But that brings us back to Star Trek's new show, Strange New Worlds. Which I am not a gigantic fan of the name.
No.
Because it feels to me like an anthology show.
No, it sounds like they're directly trying to court people.
I know, they're trying to suck up to the Strange New Worlds from the thing, but to me, the idea of Strange New Worlds feels like an anthology show of some kind. You are placing the focus now. This is a Discovery era. Well, I guess you can't even say Discovery era because they're in the fucking 9,000 years in the future, aren't they?
Fuck them.
How do you? You're in the prime Discovery timeline. You're in the prime.
I don't even care anymore.
Oh fuck! How do you explain this? It's Discovery era before they zoomed out into the future, but it's going to focus on the
Discovery
Enterprise
version of
You're in
Star
the Discovery
Trek.
version of Star Trek. We have three versions of Star Trek now. Two of them connected. We have the original. We have the JJ verse, which is connected from the split, right? And then we have whatever Discovery is on its own. And now we have a sister show to Discovery, which is Strange New Worlds, which is going to focus on what we talked about as being the only saving grace of Discovery, being the Enterprise, Captain Pike.
And specifically Pike.
Rebecca Romijn number one. She's good. I like her.
Oh, yeah,
she's fine. Good. It's not like number one was ever a developed character outside the pilot. So, I mean, she could really do whatever she wants.
Here's the thing. I liked Ethan Peck as Spock, but he's not written correctly.
I think he does a good
you get where I'm
job.
coming with that?
Yeah, but it doesn't feel quite right.
No.
It's something feels uncomfortable about it, or just like someone that knows about Spock but never really did any research into Spock. Like they know pop culture Spocky almost.
I've said this before, but it's like they went through the Cliff's Notes version.
Yeah, and I can understand that a little bit because the Enterprise was really brought in to bring people into the show.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever intended to be a spinoff because CBS All Access doesn't have a lot of money to just throw around for brand new shows that aren't on TV, is what I mean. Like, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a show, you're going to put it on CBS television. You know what I mean? Like, that's your huge audience of people at home with TV, and then you'll put it on the streaming, right? Star Trek is, for whatever reason, I'm still not sure, only a streaming platform, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Outside of the premiere of Discovery Season 1, which was on CBS television, that's still, I don't know what deal they have. I guess it has to be to sell the network, but like...
Well, I mean, in the rest of the world, it's not on CBS All Access. I think it's
true.
on Netflix. But,
it's in Canada, I believe it's on Space or something, and Netflix.
Here's what I think. This has to be part of a deal that they had to make up with their international distributors.
There's got to be something. Yeah, because for how much people might love or dislike Discovery, there's a lot of money in this show. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a cheaply made show. It's just a badly written show, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like, there are tons of effects. You can see millions of dollars disappearing every episode. It is not the traditional CBS show that it's like a character drama with like 2 cameras. Totally different.
That's the thing. Those are the parts of Star Trek that are like the best. I've said it before, but
it should be on CBS television as a normal Star Trek show like that with 2 cameras.
No, like I've said it before, but
it's Star
after
Wars.
Aaron Eisenberg's passing, like that one scene of Nog where he's with Sisko, and Sisko's like, "I don't believe you want to join Starfleet. You know why? You're a Ferengi. Why would you want that?" And then it suddenly flips, and it's one of the best scenes, period, out of DS9 at all.
It's these small moments that are just forgotten about for this big epic. They want the new CBS, the people working on it. I don't believe all the CBS execs. Most people don't know what the fuck's going on, but the people working on this show, producers, executive producers, want this to be their Star Wars.
Yeah, they want the big pew pew battles. They want the Dominion War all the time.
They want this to be their Star Wars, and they don't want this to be Star Trek. So the question is what is Strange New Worlds going to do for Star Trek fans? It is going to be what we like the best out of Discovery, which was Pike, he's friggin' fantastic. And
I like Anson Mount.
Yeah,
he keeps getting shafted, but
he does keep. I am happy he's getting a leading role here in this show because he's been shafted so many times from Marvel to.
I mentioned Inhumans before.
Yeah, from Marvel to being on Discovery as like a throwaway.
To be fair to him, he tried. He tried so hard with Inhumans.
Oh, he tries.
He couldn't save it.
Yeah, it was. They fucked that one up real bad and have already ignored it. So we're excited that they're focusing on the one thing we liked, but since it's the same people, we're also worried that they're going to ruin the one thing we like, right? If you get too much of a good thing, even if it's a bad thing, you're going to hate it, right? So why Christopher Pike worked and them is because when he was around, he made things better. And when he wasn't, you were like, oh man, I wish he was around. It's the Boba Fett syndrome. It's the Boba Fett syndrome. Boba Fett is friggin' cool because you don't know anything about him. He doesn't say a lot, but when he's on screen, you're like, oh shit, this guy is cool. You give me too much Boba Fett, you get Jango Fett and the rest of them, and you go, I'm kind of sick of that. And I'm afraid that that's what we're going to get if we see more of them. Now, they released a video, of course, all their Twitters and everything was alight, saying this is going to bring Star Trek back and focus on the optimism in the future, which are nice words. I like the words being said about that, because that's the one thing we've said from Discovery reviews, from Picard reviews, that the one thing that Star Trek here has lacked is optimism, right? Just, and I don't mean that they can't tackle difficult subjects. I don't mean that they can't deal with today's subjects in a futuristic way.
What they're doing is just brutal misery porn, mostly.
That's exactly what it is. And the problem with Picard is, that was the main problem with Picard, is that it was just miserable. Everyone that was human was just an utter piece of shit that was irredeemable. And it it wore so heavy on me that you didn't want to watch it, because you knew it wasn't there was no hope in this world. It was just depressing. Right up to the end. Totally depressing.
Oh, nonsense. Who doesn't want to see a bunch of Romulans beat themselves to death with rocks?
It's just,
they've gone insane.
It was, and look, and if Picard was like an isolated 2-part episode in like TNG or something, or post TNG, that was fine. Because that was the magic of of TNG and most of Star Trek, is everything was a bottle episode, right? So you could do something, outside of, the big continuations, but you could do something that was depressing and have a moral to it, and then move on to something.
Episodes. They were very effects light, and they were focused on character more than anything.
Yes, in a way to save money, but also to let the actors act and create the characters and expand them and do something interesting. Now you got all this money, it's just a fucking old man robot running around. And the entire cast isn't coming back, because our Romulan buddy isn't coming back for season 2.
Really?
He was left on the editing room floor on accident. You didn't read that article?
No, I did not.
He got left on by accident on the cutting room floor. There's a scene in the Picard finale where he is supposed to be taken into custody by Starfleet.
Oh, which Romulan dude are we talking about? Are we talking about
Legolas?
Guy? Or are we talking about...
Yeah, Legolas.
Oh. No, we're talking about...
Oh, no, the bad one. Yeah.
The bad one, yeah.
Narek, yes. Remember we talked about the finale, how he just sort of disappeared halfway through, and we never saw him again? Apparently that was an issue, an oopsie in editing, which I don't know what the fuck that means. You're on digital platform. You can be as long or short as you fucking want. An extra 2 minutes isn't going to kill you. But yeah, he was supposed to have been taken into Federation custody in space by one of those 200 ships that showed up, I guess. There was a scene of him, because he's gone. He's not in season 2. And there was a Patrick Stewart did a Q&A, and he's like, that's a big oopsie on our part, but he's not coming back.
Then why even
the one thing we talked about at the end of Picard, we're like, oh, okay, there's a little loose string here of like what happened to Narek, and maybe, remember we talked about like he might join the crew, he might turn around to like fight the Romulans because of his sister, and like, nope, he's fucking just out. He's a good actor, he's out. They couldn't even get their own fucking finale world right. Like, it's like, oops, sorry, editing mistake. Sorry, we didn't let you know one of the main characters that's on the fucking poster what happened to him. This is the ineptitude we're talking about, and why I'm worried about Strange New Worlds. And I'm also worried about,
oh god,
you have to expand the cast now. If you're going to focus on the Enterprise, you have the 3 main cast, which is fine. That's how the original Trek was, right? It was the 3 main people. You have Pike, you have Spock, and you have Number 1. Okay, cool.
There's also the original Enterprise Doctor who was in.
You have the original Enterprise Doctor who's already been established.
Who they're going to cast for that?
Yeah, but he was an older guy, which was cool. Yeah. It was neat. He was
like,
chill.
Hey, you need to sit back and relax.
Right. He gave him a drink. He's like, here, have a drink, chill. And a lot of that got mixed into McCoy later on. Yes. But he's a well-established character who has been involved in novels and other things. So you can't just put in another Doctor. So you have to have this character.
I fully expect them to put in another Doctor.
Yes,
I
and
don't
then
trust
you
them not
have to expand the cast if you're going to do a show like this. You can't just have the three of them. So you're going to get a tactical officer, you're going to get a doctor, you're going to get a chief engineer, you're going to get all these sorts of people, and then you're going to have to start forcing in, however long this show goes, original timeline people like Kirk and McCoy and
And
Scotty
Scotty.
and Uhura and Sulu, and eventually, you're going to have to run into them somehow, because this is only a couple of years removed from Kirk's Enterprise, right? Pretty
Yeah.
sure Pike only commanded what? They only command a 5-year mission, and then they get
Yeah, it
transferred
was only a
off.
5-year mission, and by this point, they're like, what, halfway through it,
Yeah,
supposedly?
that's what they said. They've been gone on their 5-year mission. So this show can't last more than a couple of seasons, because if we're sticking to canon Star Trek, at least in the original series, crews were given a 5-year run, and then they were just, disbanded. And the
Or
reason
they
for
were
that is
reassigned to different things.
they were designed for different things, and I think a bunch of the novels talk about, you don't want, the Enterprise was incredibly rare because it was a crew that didn't get rotated out, because they were special in what they did for the Federation. But any other ship, crews got rotated out so that they got specialized training for everything. You don't
I
want
mean,
one guy on one ship.
that was actually point on Next Gen.
Yes.
Like I don't know if I'm gonna be here,
It was a
couple
thing.
weeks
You
from now.
don't stay on this ship. Even if you're captain, I believe Pike, there was that accident, right, that led to him,
Yeah.
TOS talked about it a lot. So you can
Mhm.
already see how that's going to end going into that. In
Well,
the
I mean, we
beginning
got
of,
the stupid fucking time crystals showing him
you
that.
got time crystals, and then whatever you're going to do. And then you can potentially pull in pre-Pike Enterprise, which Captain April was there for the original, when the Enterprise was constructed in its original run. So this show only has a limited shelf life before you shift into the current TOS timeline. And so I'm nervous about that, because then you're going to have, there's not a lot you can do. Right. And I don't mean that in terms of stories in the Star Trek universe, because it's massive, but
You
in the
mean it, and
timeline,
there's
in the
only so much
space of
wiggle
time
room.
you have, you're so compact. Like Enterprise, they could do whatever they want because they were the first. TNG, that era was lucky because DS9 was station. Enterprise, or the TNG, could do its own, and Voyager was on the other side of the goddamn universe.
The sad
They
thing
do
about
whatever.
Enterprise, I found out, like originally they had plans to finally like add Jeffrey Combs as like main cast as Shran if it went on for another season.
Oh no, they
But it
had,
didn't.
the Romulan War. They had a bunch of stuff planned, and the ratings were
yeah.
getting better. Just they cut it off. They had a bad start.
Yeah.
They
They
had a
had a
bad
bad like
start.
first 2 seasons, and then the third
The
didn't really
first one, no good,
get improved.
no good. First one,
It's
no
funny
good.
because I'm watching it. I've been watching it off and on,
I
like
like
since,
Enterprise a
and
lot, but
it's
first season, no good.
it. Yeah, it has a lot of bad episodes, but
It has its
it's
moments. Like
better than what we've been getting.
I think it starts off interesting, and then it gets lost. Season 1, season 2, things just kind of go belly up
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Trip gets pregnant, and
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things, but towards the end, it gets really good. It gets actiony, but not like stupid actiony. So you get like the best of both worlds towards the end, and they
yeah,
do set up for more. And it's just they
the fourth
couldn't pick
season
up.
was when they started setting up all the good stuff that
They
you
started
actually
setting off all
wanted
the
out
good
of it.
stuff where it was going to start leading into something, and they were going to do the big Romulan War and go off.
My God, they had a spectacular mirror episode.
Yeah, no,
DS9
they
had
had
like
some good stuff.
DS9's mirror episodes were like terrible.
There was a campaign for the longest time to get a new season of Enterprise on Netflix, which was going around for a while. Oh my God. It never got the chance it deserved. And it was also on that weird, the Paramount Network or whatever. UPN was like dead.
UPN.
It died at the
Yeah,
time.
like it was that it was Enterprise and like reruns of Marvin and Moesha and
Yeah, it got real weird, and it was really
maybe Mad TV.
it was a bad time for it. So we'll see what we get from Strange New Worlds. We like that it's focusing on Captain Pike. We like that they got more traditional uniforms. I like the Enterprise's design that we've already seen, because it's a nice, I think it's a better mix than Discovery ever gave us from their ships.
Oh yeah,
because you do have the digital screens, right? Like we have today, which you have to. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't have like an 80s Enterprise up there with fucking
analog
vector
shit. Yeah.
vector graphics and stuff. You have to have something cooler. But Spock's console and the stuff, he still has his eyepiece. There's still buttons, right? You see like the glass knobs, that looking plastic knob looking things, and it still is a nice amalgamation of both, and it fits well into that world. And they even went as far as to explain the reasoning for it, because they're gone at the reaches of Federation space. You don't want like a Bluetooth capable top of the line techno battleship if the nearest starbase is 800 million miles away.
Yourself.
You got to fix it yourself, right? If you're going to go on a long, big old road trip, you're not going to take you're going to take the old tried and tested method. You're not going to, build a super fast stealth fighter that's going to fucking bust an axle and then no one can fix it on some strange world that doesn't know what the Federation is. So I like it. I like it that I hope the Enterprise can get back to that, away from Discovery, away from the bullshit happening, put it off in the far reaches of space. And I like the chemistry of the crew. Hopefully the writing gets better. Fingers crossed, but
I'm not optimistic.
I look at it as a situation where you've missed your shot so many times that eventually one of them is going to go in. CBS All Access is playing horse, and they're still struggling for that H. They're at the same spot, just missing and missing and missing. And hopefully this show gets it right. Pull back on the special effects, pull back on the money, and just spend some more time on the characters themselves. And hopefully we can get there. Fingers crossed. Let us know what you guys think. Are you excited for more Star Trek in the Discovery universe, even if it is Enterprise related? Or are you just kind of fatigued out? Do you have Picard fatigue and just want to die as a human being and not come back as a goddamn robot? Let us know in the comments below.